Hey everybody, my name's Kelvin. Welcome to my channel, The Real Mensters. I'm going to be bringing you content on the Digimon card game and, maybe some other stuff, just see what I feel like doing. So today we're going to do some openings for the starter decks for the new game. The Cocytus Blue, Gaia Red, and Heaven's Yellow decks. So I'm not going to open all 6 of these because there's not really a point. But what I am going to do is I'm going to open all 3 decks, sort of talk about the cards a little bit, and then open all 6 booster packs that come with them. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to move these out of the way. And I'm going to start with the Cocytus Blue deck. So this deck's kind of interesting. I haven't really seen starter decks this bulky before. I don't know if it's just been a while since I've bought one because I haven't really been playing too many card games for the last year or two. But I don't know, man. It just feels kind of big. Here's the pack. Nice looking pack there. And here's the deck. So interesting. So we got, rather than a rule book, we have little instruction cards and half of a memory gauge. Oh, we have the other half right here. Okay, and then here's the deck. Okay, so we got 4 Tsunamons. This Digimon gets plus 1000 DP when battling an opponent's Digimon that has no Digivolution cards. I've never really seen anyone playing this, and honestly, I don't think Digivolution removal is that good, so I don't think it's going to see a whole bunch of play, but I'll still hold it up for you guys to take a look. So we got 4 of those. We got 4 copies of the Vanilla Gomamon. That sees a lot of play because the vanilla 2-0s are pretty solid all around. It's nice because it can help you keep a choke up on your opponent's memory. We have 4 copies. Well, everything's going to be 4 copies except for a few cards that are 2 of, so I'm going to stop saying that. But we got 4 of this Gabumon. When attacking, trash the Digivolution cards at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon with level 5 or less. So that's and it's not really that good. Like I was saying, Digivolution trashing, not so good. For Baramons, 3-0. So he's pretty good for a blue rookie rush deck. For Ikakumons, 4-2, 5000 DP. Not really anything exciting there. 2 copies of this Garurumon, which when attacking, trash the Digivolution card at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, not really that good in my opinion. For Grizzlymon, this is pretty much a must-play in almost every deck. You almost always want to have 4 blockers, so, it's good that they actually give you 4 copies in the deck. 4 copies of our first rare, which is Were Garurumon. Your turn, while your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1, and that's an inherited effect. So He doesn't get it himself, but when you evolve him, the Mega form would get that effect. It's not bad, but again, Digivolution Source is kind of, eh. 4 copies of Zudomon. When Digivolve, trash 2 Digivolution cards at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, not really that great, although there are some reasons to play him in this format just because there's not a lot of good level 5 options for blue. Our next rare, we're going to get 2 copies of Plesiomon. So, you know, he's a vanilla 10-drop, 2 to evolve. So he's really good when you're trying to climb up to Omnimon. So let me go ahead and sleeve these. These are the super rares of the deck. Metal Garurumon. When attacking, once per turn, unsuspend this Digimon. So that's kind of, I guess it's kind of nice. Because, you know, you can attack twice with him. But honestly, for 4 cost, I don't really want to be doing that because he's probably not even going to be able to attack the turn you play him. So I'd rather be playing something else. And that's just because it's hard to, you know, be at 4 memory on your turn unless you're using a memory tamer and you get like a hammer spark off, which is possible with blue, but even so, yeah, I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best mega for blue. We got 4 copies of Matashita. Start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. And play this card without paying its memory cost if he's in the security. So, again, you know, but here is honestly the real reason to buy this deck. 4 copies of Hammer Spark. Main, gain 1 memory for 0 cost, so it's just +1 memory is pretty sweet. And security, gain 2 memory, so that security effect is really powerful. And it can absolutely swing the game if you get it at a crucial time when your opponent's at 1 memory. 4 copies of Sorrow Blue. I'm going to level with you. I've probably read this card like once in my life and then never again because it seemed bad. Let's see if it still is. Main, choose one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. That card can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. And in security, choose one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. That Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your next turn. I'm sorry, I don't find it that interesting. And 2 copies of Kaiser Nail, which I know has some uses in sort of like cheesy types of decks. 4 cost option. Main, choose a Digimon Digivolution card placed under one of your Digimon and play it as another Digimon without paying its memory cost. Security effect, activate this card's main effect. It's alright, I guess. You know, like I said, you can use it in certain cheesy strategies, but overall, it's not the sort of card I would use on a regular basis. And finally, the card that this deck is named after, Cocytus Breath. 7 cost option. return one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand, trash all of the Digivolution cards of that Digimon, and security activate this card's main effect. I mean, you know, it's not the best form of removal because sending it back to the hand gives the opponent a chance to play it again. So I think that that's probably a big part of why it doesn't see that much play. It does, you know, cause your opponent to lose a bit of tempo, but I don't really think that that's worth a 7-cost option, especially not when, you know, decks like Red have Gaia Force, which we'll be getting to. All right, next up is the Gaia Red Deck. So, this time around, I think that I'm not going to go over every single card in the deck, and that's because it takes up a lot of time, and honestly, one, you guys probably don't care. You've probably already been following the game enough that you have an idea about the cards. And two, I sort of want to see what you guys think about the two different formats and which one you guys prefer. So let me know in the comments below if you prefer me talking about the deck or not talking about the deck. And this time we got one of the Diaboromon packs. Gonna put this off to the side. And I'll go ahead and drop these off as well. So let's get going. 4 copies of Koromon. He is, you know, in this format, he's really the best that Red has to offer as your level 2, so you're probably going to be using him a lot. Again, you know, Biyomon, Vanilla 2-0, so you'll see that used. Agumon is also at 4 copies, and he's really good because he gives you that plus 1000 DP. Dracomon, 3-0, 4000 attack. Bergermon, again, you know, kind of garbage vanilla that you won't ever see anyone play. Cordramon, your blocker. Only 2 copies of Greymon, so this is the reason that you need to buy 2 copies of this deck in particular, because Greymon is perhaps Red's best champion, because it gives you plus 1 security attack as an inherited skill, which is just bonkers. 4 copies of Garudamon. Nah, no one really plays this card. 4 copies of Metal Greymon. No one really plays this card. And for good reason, because it has a when this Digimon is blocked effect. Like, I sort of get it, you're trying to get around, try to make your opponent not want to block you, but I don't really think that's worth it to play that one. I think the secret rare Metal Greymon's kind of cooler. 2 Phoenixmon, again, your vanilla ultimate that helps you go into Omnimon better. 2 copies of War Greymon. And let me just say that personally, I think this is vastly inferior to the War Greymon from the booster packs, because even though this one gives you the permanent security attack, and you can get security attack plus 2, you're not going to if you hit something big in their security, like, you know, Gaia Force, and Wargreymmon's going to die and you're not going to get everything. So I think being able to negate those effects is honestly a little better. Plus the fact that the booster one is a 3 cost rather than a 4 cost is a huge difference, because it means a memory tamer can allow you to play him and attack in the same turn, while that's not the case with this Wargreymon. For Taikamiya, it's a decent tamer. All of your Digimon get plus 1000 DP. You know, you can use it for kind of aggro strategy, but I'm not a big fan of him that much. I'd rather be playing a memory tamer or no tamer in most cases. There are some exceptions. Shadow Wing, plus 1000 power, and the security effect is kind of nice, but not really worth playing. 4 copies, and that's 4 copies of that. 4 copies of Starlight Explosion. Again, this is one of those cards that I read once and was like, well, that's not that good, and never read it again. I won't read it this time either. 2 Giga Destroyer, sort of same thing, where it's like I read it once, thought it was bad, never read it again. And the other reason that you want to buy 2 of this deck, which is Gaia Force, which is just such a good card. Pay 8 to delete one of your opponent's Digimon. It's just really strong. You know, it hits anything. It costs a lot, but, you know, you use it to stop your opponent from doing just whatever it is they want to do. So that's really good. So that's it for that deck. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, and here's the Heavens Yellow deck. So I still talked quite a bit through that last one. Probably going to talk the least in this one, because honestly I think this is the least impressive of the decks. So I really won't have too much to say about it. And this is already getting kind of long anyway. So let's get this thing open. This time we got the Gallantmon pack and the false advertising Shine Greymon not in the set. Big disappointment, honestly. That would have made yellow a much more exciting color. This format. Although possibly, you know, too powerful. But I don't know. With Omnimon running around like he does, I think that yellow could have still been given a run for its money, even with Shine Greymon. So we got 4 copies of Tokamon. Here, I'll show it to you. Yellow really doesn't have any good level 2s, like, at all. So it doesn't really matter which one you play. 4 copies of Salamon, your Vanilla. 4 copies of Tapermon, your 3-0 4K. 4 copies of Patamon, which is a pretty good card in Shine Greymon decks. 2 copies of Angemon, doesn't really matter, not that good of a card anyway. 4 copies of Gatomon. This is the only one of the vanilla champions I've seen played, and you know, I've seen the argument for why, and it's all right, but I'd still rather play something else generally. 4 copies of Unimon, your blocker. 4 copies of Magna Angemon. Again, not really that good, I don't think. You got 4 copies of Angelwoman, which I actually do think is kind of decent. Not great, but decent. You know, it can help you stay in the game, which Yellow really likes to do. And then 2 copies of your Vanilla Mega without something like you know, Omnimon to take advantage. There's not really that much point to it. Here's a super rare, and I apologize if you hear my dog whining in the background. She's I don't know. She's probably a little cold because it's cold right now. So I'm gonna get her wrapped up in a blanket when I'm done with this. 4 copies of TK Takaishi. So, you know, he is a standard in a Shine Greymon deck because of the fact that he's only a 2 cost, and also there's only 3 yellow tamers, and you need to play a bunch of yellow tamers. So I don't know that he's going to continue to be played, but I have seen him sort of come in clutch when you have a bunch of him, because then basically if your opponent attacks into your security, that Digimon's almost definitely going to die. For Heaven's Gate, another one of those like garbage pack filler options that I have no idea what it does, but I don't think it's probably worth reading. 2 copies of Heaven's Charm, same deal there, not worth reading. Holy Flame, my understanding is that this sees some play in Mega Zoo decks, so you know, probably good to have 4 copies if you're interested in building that. And then 2 copies of 7 Heavens. You know, it's fine, but I wish it took away more DP, because at the end of the day, it's the only one that's not guaranteed removal from the 3 like boss options. It's kind of lame. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to clear this off, and then I'm going to get to the pack opening. So give me just a moment. Okay, so these are the 3 you already saw me pull. I'm going to get the other ones out of the boxes just so you know I'm not, you know, pulling any funny business if I pull anything crazy. Not that I think anyone really thinks that. I don't know. When I see pack openings and stuff, people seem to, the people making them seem to like care about the sanctity of the opening process. So I assume that they have some reason for that, or maybe some viewers do care about that. So there's the first one. Here's the second one. here's the third and final one. All right. Well, you know, I'm gonna start with the ones we have the most of, then work my way down. Not that it really matters. So, not too sure how these packs are meant to be opened. Okay, you can kind of open them down there. Okay, so we got the left half of a memory gauge. I'm also not too sure the order in which these come. So I guess we'll see. We got Blast Fire, Repamon, Gardramon, Smashed Potatoes, Goblimon, Metal Tyrannomon, Night Raid, Megadramon. I think we're getting close to the rares. Fremon, Hyandramon. I think these next two are going to be them. There's Madashito, that's kind of nice. And Cupimon. So no foil, no super rare, nothing too interesting there. I'll put the rares aside though. Okay. Pack number 2. Okay. Oh, there we go. It always feels like different games have a different, like a different sweet spot for opening their packs. And it takes a while to figure out what they are. So we've got Wizardmon, Heat Viper, Piximon, Tyrannomon, Volcanodramon, Night Raid, Pumpkinmon, Boltmon, Tapermon. And so I guess it is just the last two cards are rares. Breakdramon, I think the next two. Symphony number 1, Polyphony, and Venomyotismon. So, again, I'll put the rares aside, but nothing too groundbreaking. Matt's kind of good, the others not really. I mean, I've heard some arguments for Symphony number 1, but it's not my cup of tea personally. So I'll get rid of this thing. Okay, we got Kudamon, Wizardmon, Boring Storm, Repamon, Armadillomon, Pagumon, Frigimon, Petermon, River of Power, Labramon, Cerberusmon, and last one in the pack, Hercules Kabuterimon. Not my favorite super rare, but it is a super rare. So that's kind of nice. Not really a big fan of green, this format, or this card in general, but, you know, hey, might be able to trade it or something. And besides, I want to keep a playset of every card just in case it somehow becomes relevant. So, next up, that was a bad open. Okay, another memory gauge. Okay, Grillamon, pretty good card. Goblimon, Repamon, Vegemon, Nuclear Laser, Gurumon, Kapurimon, Kawagamon, Gatsumon, Tinkermon, and I think these are the last two, so Puppetmon, that's a great card. And Skullgreymon, another great card. Alright, second and last pack. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so Vaporeon, Vilemon, V Novablast, Tsukaimon, Agumon, Guilmon, Hornbuster, Wergarurumon, Petermon. I think after this are the two rares, so we got Tapermon, Infirmon, and Piedmon. That is an excellent pull. Piedmon. I'm a big fan of purple, and I am a big fan of Piedmon in purple. I also really like this art. I mean, I like the alt art as well, but I don't know, just the cards and everything. I think it looks pretty cool. Also, go ahead and show you this since I didn't give you a close-up. Okay. And I honestly, I don't know if this is focusing or not, so hopefully that doesn't look like utter crap. If it does, I apologize. Last pack. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, so we got Goblimon. Oh, forgot to set these aside. Goblimon. Oh, that's fine. The Mushroomon, Smashed Potatoes, Dolphmon, Blade of the True, Agumon, Gardramon, Davidramon, Garurumon. So now we've got Radiation Blade, and then it's going to be our two rares. Cubimon. I'm beginning to think that the super rare, if there is one, is always in the last slot. And Metal Garurumon. So that's one. Metal Garurumon's pretty decent for blue. Not my favorite, mega, but it has its uses. But we pulled 3 super rares from 6 starter decks, so that's like really good. Half of our packs had supers in them. That's awesome. Plus we got Puppetmon, Skullgreymon, and Matt. All 3 of those are pretty solid cards. Matt less so, honestly, but still that's nice. And so I think with that we're gonna end this video. It was a little longer than I was initially hoping, but I'm still trying things out. I would appreciate any sort of feedback you guys have, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.